I'd like to welcome everyone here this evening for attending on what has not yet turned into a slippery night, and we hope to get you out of here well before that happens. But it is important that you be here because we wanted to have the opportunity to share with you some of the plans and the vision that we have with regard to the Great Stone Viaduct in Bel Air, Ohio. The project that we've been working on has gone on for the past 3.5 years. We have submitted a proposal to CSX about a year ago. Actually, tonight is just shy of 1 year ago. And we've been in discussions and negotiations with them, which we'll talk about more in a few minutes. But there are some folks who are important that we should be recognizing, and we wanted to give them the opportunity to take a bow. Government has helped support this project. And I would like to recognize Belmont County Commissioner Ginny Favid, who is just here now. You timed that perfectly. Belmont County Commissioners, Mark Thomas and Matt Coughlin, I don't believe are going to be here, but we're happy to have, and we're happy to have you here, Ginny. The Belmont County Commission is the one public body that we went to first requesting a resolution of support for our project here regarding the Great Stone Viaduct. And they did pass that resolution, and we appreciate all the support that they've given to us. We also want to recognize the Belmont County Tourism Council. And here we have tonight Doc Householder and his wife Ruth. Doc, as the director of the Tourism Council, has been so instrumental in our being able to move this project forward. And their entire board has been so helpful to us. And we really do appreciate Doc, because I can tell you that without the Tourism Council's support of this project, we wouldn't be able to go forward. And so I thank you from the bottom of my heart and our board. We really do appreciate all that you've done. Belmont County Port Authority, Larry Mary, I understand, is not able to be here. He called me and said he would not. But Glynis Valente is here. Glynis, would you like to just stand up? And Glynis Valente is the secretary or clerk of the Port Authority, and we appreciate your being here in Larry's absence. Belmont County CIC, Sue Douglas, former member of our board. I don't believe that she's able to be here tonight, but we'd like to thank her for her resolution of support and their board. And the Village of Bel Air, we have a resolution of support that comes from our village where this project is located, and I know that we have some representatives of the village here tonight. Mayor Vince DiFabrizio. I know we have some councilmen, Jim Williams. We have Jerry Fisher. Donnie Maupin is there. Wave your hand. And the new village administrator, where are you? Okay, Scott Porter is here. So we want to thank the village for your support, and we will need your continued support to make this project happen. State Representative Jack Serra and State Senator Lou Gentile have sent me letters of regret. They've both told me that they're in Columbus doing the people's business, and they regret that they could not be here tonight. But they send their greetings to all that are here and their wholehearted support for the project that the Great Stone Viaduct Society has undertaken. Please, if you would, join me in thanking these public officials, because it is only with their help and assistance that we're going to be able to make this happen. Thank you. And I would like to recognize a group of people who really are the backbone of this organization and who do so many things above and beyond the call of duty to make what we're going to present to you here tonight possible. And that's the Board of Trustees of the Great Stone Viaduct Society. Each of these individuals bring to this society something special. It might be a skill, it might be a viewpoint, whatever it is, they all contribute to what we're doing here on this board. And I'd like the opportunity to just introduce each of them to you tonight. And I'd ask you to stand until all the trustees have been introduced, and I ask you to hold your applause until the end. Our vice chair is Larry Sabita. Larry brings to our board his architectural skills, something that's very important for what we're doing. Our treasurer, James Cochran, there in the back, certified public accountant that takes care of the funds. The dues that you send in, it is Jim who receives those and takes care of those. And that is such an important part of relieving me of the responsibility of having to worry about money. I'm not a money person or a numbers person. That's why we have Jim. Our recording secretary, Sandy Chile, is here. Sandy is here. Sandy is the one who has to sit there and listen to us at the meetings and take down the notes and prepare the minutes for our meetings. Our membership secretary and our watercolor artist. How many people here like those watercolors that you receive? Those watercolors are done by the hands of Joanne Cochran, who is our membership secretary. And Joanne, we appreciate all that you do. Then we have our trustee, Paul Cramer. Paul is integral to all of the graphics that you see around the room tonight. If it's the Great Stone Viaduct banner that's there against the wall, if it's the Ringstone placard that's back against the wall, if it's the map that you see here to my left, Paul is the graphic guy that does all of this, and he does our website. How many people have seen our website? You know that we have a good website. You can tell. Paul is responsible for so much of that. Then we have our trustee Erica Keller and Nancy Merriman. These are our education specialists. They're the ones that are teachers, former teachers, and they know exactly how important this winter lecture series is to the students in our community and to preserving knowledge of local history, which is what this organization is all about. And also, Erica makes a mean cupcake. Our trustee, Jack McKeever, is not able to be with us here this evening. Jack has had some surgery, and he called and indicated he wouldn't be able to make it. But Jack is our masonry expert, our contractor. And obviously, taking over a bridge, we're going to need his expertise. And then Stanley Stewart. Stanley Stewart, who is on our board, was the former superintendent of the Bel Air schools. And he brings to the board his administrative skills and has headed up our team that has been negotiating with CSX for acquisition of the viaduct. Jim Williams. Jim Williams is our liaison to the village, to village government. And in addition to that, he's our groundskeeper over there. He's been cutting weeds and taking care of things along with Donnie Moppin. And we appreciate all that they have done. Trustee David Sly, he is the man back there behind the camera. He's already standing, so he doesn't have to stand up. But David is a videographer that works with, is it KDKA or it's KDKA? I didn't want to get the wrong television station in Pittsburgh. And he videos all of these events. Every lecture series speaker, we have that on video, and it's all because Dave donates his time and his talents to have that happen. And our newest trustee is Ed Maurer. Ed is formerly with American Electric Power. He brings to him corporate background and knowledge that's very important to our board. And we also, Ed, would like to thank your wife for this evening for the refreshments, the cookies, the cakes. Thank you so much, Mary. I'd also like to recognize, because they're here this evening, two of our former trustees, Tracy Pearson and Lillian Sabita, if you two would stand, please. All of these people are so important to the work that we do. We could not do what we have done or what we've accomplished in the last year without all of these people taking part. And I want you to join me in giving them a well-deserved round of applause. It's really a pleasure serving with these individuals because they're a great group of people who donate their time and their talents. They don't do it for money or for personal recognition. They're doing it because they want the satisfaction that comes from succeeding on a project like this, from promoting knowledge and from preserving that which we'll never be able to replace once it's gone. And we hope that through their efforts and our continued efforts, we will soon be able to unveil in reality what we're going to show you in video this evening. On March 7th, 2014, just three days shy of a year ago, the Great Stone Viaduct Society submitted this proposal to CSX in Jacksonville, Florida. This company owns the abandoned portion of the Stone Viaduct and what we all have referred to as the pipe yard. And they also own the right-of-way that extends from the pipe yard and the viaduct property out to 26th Street. The cover letter of submission, I'd like to read to you just a couple of the paragraphs that we put in that. I'm quoting now from that letter. We hope that the proposal of acquisition that we have presented will encourage CSX to become a partner in helping to preserve a local, state, and national treasure that was created by America's first railroad. We are attaching to the letter a token just like this, of our good faith to work with you and the CSX team. This token was cast in celebration of the 100th anniversary of the construction of this bridge. Well, I'm pleased to announce to you tonight that our token of good faith has been accepted and that we have found CSX to be a willing partner to help us move this project forward. We are finalizing with CSX an agreement that will allow the Great Stone Viaduct Society to acquire a 5.56 acre parcel of real estate that you see here on the map and drawing to my left. It's a 5.56 acre parcel that has long been neglected and which we don't want to see continue in the same state that it has been for the past 20 years. There are approximately 20 arches of the Great Stone Viaduct that sit on that property. And we want to showcase tonight how we envision the future possibilities for this property may pan out. And at this time, I'd like to turn the microphone over to Hayes Landscape Design and Tim Scott. And Tim is going to take over and show you what we hope will knock your socks off.
Good evening. Like Dan said, my name is Tim Scott, and I'm with Hayes Landscape Architecture Studio. We're a design and consulting firm in St. Clairsville.
Use the mic, please.
I'm sorry. Is this better?
Yes.
Okay. Again, my name is Tim Scott, and I'm with Hayes Landscape Architecture Studio. We're a design and consulting firm in St. Clairsville. We do a lot of work with historical and cultural landscapes, which is why the Great Stone Viaduct decided to hire us to help them out with this project. Initially, what they wanted us to do was just a color rendering of their schematic site plan, but we said, well, you could do kind of a three-dimensional model, kind of show people exactly what you're trying to envision. They get a better idea of what you're trying to accomplish here. So the video we're going to show you is the final product. It's a video fly-through of the model. So what's going to happen is we're going to show the video in its entirety first with sound, and then we're going to play it again a second time without sound, and I'm going to kind of talk through what we're kind of looking at. So, Paul, if if you could please start. Okay, so that was a video, so we're going to show it again without sound, and I'll try to explain kind of some of the things that's going on. This is the overall site. Of course, you got the viaduct in the front and the train bridge off to the right. Panning around, looking towards the north right now. So the idea was to have that smaller building in the center would be kind of like a train station, visitor center, gift shop, self-guided museum, something like that, with the parking along right off of 32nd Street. And then kind of create a walkway on top of the viaduct itself, which is what we're going to show right here. Have some benches along the side, some lighting that accentuate the supports for the arches themselves. So kind of wood slats going across to represent the railroad ties going through. And then we kind of keep walking through out to the end where there's a platform, turnaround area where people can kind of step out over the edge, look off towards the river, or down the viaduct itself, or look inside the park, just to kind of get a better view of Bel Air itself. Kind of a better view of the platform itself. And we wanted to create walkways kind of away from the arches so people won't not necessarily get up on the arches. They could get a better view of the viaduct itself. So that's why those walkways are a little bit farther out. And then creating some connectors underneath the archway so people can actually get up underneath and look at the arches themselves. Now this next shot's going down the center towards the center ring in the middle of the field, which is actually informational signage, maybe historical signs, tells you the brief history of the site itself, what went on, different stages of its life. And these kind of stone arches off to the left, we threw those to represent the Keystone clubs, the ring clubs. You know, this design is not really set in stone, so that's something that we're trying to work with right now. But that's to show you that we haven't forgotten about the donors that are going to help this project come together. And then this main walkway that connects the parking lot to the steps that will actually take you up to the viaduct. Line it with trees to help, screen the roadway a little bit. And then the parking lot's off to the left. Again, this is 32nd Street right here coming up. Now you may notice that the train station has railroad tracks out in the front. And one of the thoughts was maybe we get an old train to set on there as just a standstill museum. People can get up and kind of see what kind of engines were used along this rail line. And then we go back to the center walk that goes towards the signage, which we'll get a better look at here. So it creates a 360-degree view of the site itself. So each panel can, whatever you're facing when you're looking at it, will talk about whatever was on that site in that view shed. So then we pan back out and we get another big picture of the site. And there you have it. Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you, Tim. Let me see a show of hands. How many people liked what they saw here? Okay, great. That's great. I think it's unanimous. We were very impressed when we first saw the video, and we now are going to introduce someone who is here from Columbus, Ohio, Kara Allison, who is here from Columbus, Ohio, who is employed by Hall & Associates. She's here to tell us how we're going. I just asked her that. I said, can we make this happen? And she said, yes, we can. She's here to tell us how we're going to make this happen. Kara.
Good evening. I'm Allison with Hall & Associates, and as Dan mentioned, I'm from Columbus, Ohio. We're a project development and consulting firm based in Columbus, but I also want to recognize my colleague, AJ Smith, who's here in the audience. AJ is the manager of our St. Clairsville office, so we have an office close by, too. We specialize in working with groups just like Great Stone Viaduct in transferring former industrial or working with large industrial corporations to transfer these properties for new purposes and new uses. So my background and experience, I've worked with General Motors, Delphi, Ford Motor Company, Columbia Gas, AEP. So I've worked with a lot of these large industrial companies to transfer these properties. So the work that I've been doing with Great Stone Viaduct is in relation to the due diligence on the negotiation and transfer of this property. But I also have a niche specialty in finding grant funding to support these projects and marrying those pieces together. So bringing together the investments that Great Stone Viaduct has already accumulated through your donations and support, and also tying that to other funding mechanisms, everything from green park grants to grants that can help support and facilitate infrastructure improvements, cleanup, moving around dirt and soil, making sure structures are built correctly, and all the due diligence pieces that go with that. So we've already started looking at some of those funding opportunities. Many of those require a match component to them, ranging anywhere from 25% of what the total grant ask is, up to typically 40% of what the total grant ask is. And that match can come in a variety of forms. So cash is king, always is in the grant world. But there's also things that can be done at the grassroots level, get your hands dirty kind of level. So anytime there's an opportunity, somebody's got machinery or equipment that can help move dirt or grub on the site, remove some of the overgrowth and brush. People hours, people coming and volunteering to move things on the site. If we keep track of all of those details, that can be used to leverage those grants as match. And the nice thing about some of the grants that we're looking at too to help support this project, they cross-leverage each other. So when we acquire one grant, we can use that as a match to the next grant that we're pursuing. So the more funding that we can leverage through the grant process, it gives basically the bank account room to grow and opportunity for more chunks of the project to be tackled in the order that you'll see up here, and I'm sure Dan will probably talk about too. Just to give you a quick example of some of the funding opportunities we've looked at, the Clean Ohio Conservation Fund, which is a state-based program, US EPA, US EDA, so Economic Development Agency, and HUD have joined together to create a sustainable growth program for communities around the United States. They've actually consolidated a lot of their funds into this new program. It supports things, infrastructure, park, improvements for general public activities. So there's a lot of funding that's coming out of this program now to grow sustainable, take back, sites that have been unused for a long time and turn them into something green and beautiful again. So these funds, we'll pursue a trio of funds out of that program. And then any additional funding and match that we can find through Jobs Ohio, through the Ohio Development Services Agency, and any other matching components we can find from support at the local level as well. So we have a targeted list of things we're looking at. Part of the big process is getting through acquisition with CSX, which is also why we're on board to help. And then once Great Stone Viaduct actually has the property in its possession, we'll be off to the races on applying for a lot of this grant funding. That is a key component of several of these grants, is that they have to be the owner of the property in order to apply. So once we accomplish that and the acquisition piece is squared away and in place, we truly will be off to the races applying for funding to support.
Can you tell us what you think of this project?
I love this project. I really do. The first time I came out and met with these guys was earlier this winter. They showed it to me. My background and where I came, I do a lot of brownfield redevelopment projects, so I crawl around in a lot of dirty industrial buildings. That's what I do for a living. And I actually see them through into a new use. So I'm actually kind of passionate and excited that I get to work on a park project. It's not very often that I get to do park pieces. A lot of the work that I do is transitioning for new jobs, new development, new logistics facilities, new offices, things like that, which is great. I love helping people find new jobs and building new buildings to get new jobs on old sites that haven't been used in a long time, but it's pretty rare that I get to work on a park project. So I'm really excited that it's Dan and his crew and Great Stone Viaduct and CSX. This is a nice opportunity to work with a very large national company, and that's prominent here for Belair too. You guys will have a nice piece of attention, and hopefully at the end of the day, you're going to have a real gem of a project that you can showcase around the state and around the country to other people, to show them how it's done, show them the right way to do projects like this. So I'm excited about it. Thanks.
I don't know how many of you saw the newspaper article that was in the Intel. How many people saw that news article? Paul Cramer of our board was contacted by Casey Junkins of the Intel to inquire about the project. And then I got a call from Casey. And then he wrote the article, and apparently he had taken what we had given to him and called CSX. And we were very pleased to know that they told Casey that we're in the final stages of completing our agreement for the acquisition of this property, and also that they were very much impressed that they were working with a very passionate group of individuals here from our board. And so I think that's a good sign, positive sign. We're going to move forward with this, but as Kara indicated, we're going to need to acquire grant funding for some of, or all, or a good part of what we have showcased for you tonight. And that is where the local matches are so important. We started a Keystone Club and a Ringstone Club, and we've had so many people that have contributed to that to become a part of it. Paul Cramer is now going to tell you about our fundraising effort, and we're going to be recognizing so many of you out there who have supported us in that endeavor. Paul?
I want to give you a brief look at the symbolism that was contained in the stone viaduct. This photograph you see here was shot in 1872. That was just 1 year after the completion of its construction. And if you take a look at the section that we are looking to acquire is right about here. And this is actually the most beautiful section of the viaduct because it's the curve. Down on the straight section, which heads down 31st Street, right around the third arch, or actually at the third arch, you can take a look at a keystone on the north side of the third arch, and on it is the date that's been carved into the keystone, 1870. This is when this project was started. And if you look a little bit closer, you can see the mark of the masons who constructed this stone arcade. I think this is quite significant because there's a lot of symbolism that's been worked into the construction of this project. The masons were, I think, famous for their symbolism. And one of the things that they did was to create 37 ringstones in every arch. And there's a reason behind that. This was not accidental. It was done in a way to symbolize the mending of the Union, the state, that there were 37 states in the Union at this time. And they realized that 5 years after the Civil War, when this was being constructed, that our country needed to be mended. And I think the same reason that they showcased these stones shoulder to shoulder to support the arch, they also wanted to symbolize the 37 states in the Union standing shoulder to shoulder to try to mend themselves after such a bloody conflict, which was the Civil War. So if you go down and take a look at the arches, you can count them yourselves. It's fascinating that here's a piece of history which has not only a local meaning for us in Bel Air, but has a national meaning as well. These are the states, the 37 states at the time in 1870. You can see in blue the northern states, and in red the southern states. And for this reason, the Greystone Viaduct Society chose to use a keystone and ringstones for our fundraising efforts. We too wanted to have the community stand shoulder to shoulder to support this project. And I would like to take the opportunity to introduce our keystone and ringstone members. And if I'm going to read the keystone members first, and if you could stand, whether you're a member or representing an organization that's a Keystone Club member, please stand and then remain standing until I'm done with that list. Auto Choice of Bel Air, Belmont Community Hospital and Wheeling Hospital, Belmont County Tourism Bureau, Belmont Savings Bank, Buffalo Wild Wings, Muxie Distributing, Stegman and Shellhace, Bel Air High School Alumni Association, United Mine Workers District 31 Sub 6, and the Italian American Citizens Club in Bel Air, Ohio. These Keystone members have each donated $2,500 toward our fundraising. Okay, on to our Ringstone members. I've got a pretty long list here. I don't know how many Ringstone members are here tonight, but we'll see. Angelina Stone and Marble, Botnecht Altmeyer, Bel Air Harbor Service, Belmont Tri-County Insurance, Chase Bank, Chirps Auto Collision, Zach Christakis, AE and Marilyn Sudine, Denny's Blue Angel, Emergency Medical Transport, Emma's Attic Primitive Gatherings, Daniel and Penny Frizzi, Frizzi Law Offices, Frizzi's Market. All right. Gula's Lunch, IRC Contracting, J&L Auto Body, La Roche Tree Service, the Marathon Subway of Bel Air, McDonald's of Bel Air, MC Thomas Insurance Agency, MOS Office Systems, Dr. David Melgari, Nathan Sports Shop, Paul J. Associates, Progressive Bank, Regus Restaurant, Telemann, Thomas L. and Janice Sable, Tom Breeden Construction and Demolition, Sabita Architects, Soft-Tite Federal Credit Union, State Farm Insurance, Save Right Pharmacy, Stony Hollow Tire, Tri-Sons Concrete, United Bank of Bel Air, United Masonry, West Texas Roadhouse, Charles J. and Nancy Visvari, the Bel Air High School class of 1946, the class of 1954, the class of 1968, the class of 1969, the class of 70, the class of 1971, and the class of 1974. Then on to the veterans of West Washington Street, Daniel L. Frizzi Sr., World War II, U.S. Navy, Jeff and Rose Durant in honor of their parents, James and Dolly Derry, Nick and Opal Durant. In memory of Jeff Durant, given by wife Rosemary. Tony Francis in memory of Barbara Francis. Stephen Green in memory of Spotwood and Ida Green. And finally, in memory of Bill Casco. That's quite a list. All of those folks have donated $500 and are Ringstone Club members. Please. Together with the Keystone and Ringstone Club, we have raised nearly $50,000. To me, that's amazing. When I was first involved in this project, I never thought something like that could happen. But I really think the citizens of the Village of Bel Air and its surrounding area are passionate about this project. It's obvious from your donations. But anyway, we are not done yet. And we really do need funding to continue this project. We have a lot of infrastructure, a lot of groundskeeping to do. We intend to use these additional funds raised to seek the matching grants that we've heard about for the improvements and upkeep. We hope you can continue with the fundraising efforts. For this reason, we've enclosed pledge forms in the programs you've received tonight. Personally, I have never witnessed a civic project with so much passion and support from the community as this project. I'm overwhelmed, and I congratulate all of you who have helped support this project. So, thank you.
Okay, there's a few other announcements that I would like to make. Those of you who are members of the organization, don't forget that on Friday, we are having an open house for members of the Great Stone Viaduct Society at the Belmont County Sheriff's Residence Museum in St. Clairsville. We have been helpful, I believe, to the museum that is being put together by the Tourism Council and Commissioner Favin. We've put together a room with Shady Side and I believe Powhatan and who else is in that room? Neffs. And we are, and I just got word today from Andrew that he wanted to know whether or not a certain organ that I proposed to them might also be included in that room. So we're having an open house on Friday. You are all, as members, entitled to come. You need to simply take your lanyard and bring that with you. We're going to have refreshments there. It's Friday at 6 o'clock. Also, the National Imperial Glass Collectors Society. Fred, where are you? Is Fred still here? Fred had to leave. The National Imperial Glass Collectors Society members are also invited to attend that. And if you can make that event, I think you're going to really enjoy getting a look before the general public does as to what the Sheriff's Residence Museum is all about. It encompasses history of every part of Belmont County, and I think you'll be very pleased. We encourage you to come this Friday evening. In closing, I want to say this. We cannot thank enough those of you who have supported us through the Ringstone and Keystone memberships. And I want you to be assured that we have secured some outside funding that is going to allow us to acquire this property from CSX without the need to use those funds. We're going to be using those funds for matching grant funds. And we want you to encourage anyone who you didn't see here tonight to support this project, to stand shoulder to shoulder with all of you to help us move this project forward as quickly as possible. In 2021, the Great Stone Viaduct will be 150 years old. And on the sesquicentennial anniversary of the construction of that bridge, I hope that we're able to cast a token, just like this one that was cast about 44 years ago, so that we can give these as remembrances of the building of this magnificent bridge that graces the community. Thank you all for coming, and please drive carefully. Drive safely home. Doc. Sure, Doc.
Hello, everyone. How y'all doing tonight? Okay, Belmont County Tourism Council, hi Jenny, is working on their budget, and I think we're going to pass it probably in the next 2 or 3 days. And guess what? We have $75,000 in the budget for this, what we're doing right here tonight. $75,000.
Thank you, Doc. And that's what I didn't want to say that at the beginning, but I was trying to let everybody know how much we appreciate the Belmont County Tourism Council and the county help that we're getting. But really, folks, this is a project that can happen, but we need more community support than we've already received. And go out there and talk to somebody who you didn't see here tonight. See if you can't ask them to join you and stand shoulder to shoulder on this project. Thank you all for coming.